everything you need to know about Saturday Night Live with John Schneider and James Stevens.
Welcome to everything you need to know about Saturday Night Live. I'm John Schneider from the Saturday Night Network.
And I'm James Stevens, and we're here to journey through 50 years of sketches, characters, and backstage stories that chronicle SNL's place as a television institution.
And now here's everything you need to know about season 22 of Saturday Night Live. The 1995-96 season once again saw Saturday Night Live fight off its potential cancellation with a reboot of its cast and writers, bringing in new players like Will Ferrell, Sheryl, and Darrell Hammond. There was a fresh energy surrounding the show, as fans connected with the show's new recurring characters and impressions. The season wrapped with a highly regarded finale hosted by Jim Carrey.
It's not your time yet!
Departing the show at the conclusion of the season was six-year veteran David Spade, as well as rookie Nancy Walls. Over the summer, David Koechner was also released from the cast after executive producer Lorne Michaels was pressured by president of NBC West Coast, Don Ohlmeyer, to remove Koechner. And after initially being told he too was dropped from the cast, Mark McKinney would eventually return to the show for his third season. Filling the gap left by departed cast members, Lorne would hire two new repertory players. 29-year-old Anna Gasteyer from Washington, D.C., SNL's fourth current cast member from the Groundlings, and 27-year-old Tracy Morgan, a stand-up comedian from Brooklyn who narrowly beat out Stephen Colbert for the last spot in the cast. Though Colbert was never hired as a cast member, he would make several cameo appearances and served as a guest writer in November. Joining the writing staff, Harvard alum Robert Carlock, with Tim Herlihy and Adam McKay being promoted to head writers. The 22nd season of Saturday Night Live premiered on September 28, 1996, with seven-time host Tom Hanks and six-time musical guest Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
It's so wonderful to come back to Saturday Night Live now that it's decent again.
Several recurring characters appear throughout the episode.
Now let's get funky like a witch's monkey.
A Tonight Show with Jay Leno parody would feature the debut of Chris Kattan's part monkey, part human character, Mr. Peepers.
Don't worry, Jay. Mr. Peepers would never bite me. Peepers and I have this great, trusting relationship.
On Weekend Update, Norm Macdonald would deliver his first of many jokes about,
you guessed it, Frank Stallone.
Anna Gasteyer would debut her fast-talking MTV VJ Kincaid.
Both candidates have totally tripped out on the buzz issues like welfare, and like healthcare and gun control. Oh my God, Charlie's Angels, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh my God, awesome, I love that.
And Olympic gymnast Carrie Strug would make an appearance.
Thanks for having us on the show, Norm.
Yeah, thanks.
Alongside her brother Kippy.
You were there that night. Now what was going on through your mind?
Well, first, I was really excited.
In Kattan's first episode as a repertory
She
player.
hurt her ankle, and I got really nervous, on top of being excited, but I was just hoping she can keep her focus, so I said a little prayer.
You said a little prayer?
Yeah, I said a little prayer.
That's so sweet.
I know it is, isn't it?
The premiere would also mark the beginning of a new segment in the show. Over the summer, former writer Robert Smigel phoned Lorne to discuss making animated segments for SNL. Lorne liked the idea, and so was born
Come back here with Marge.
the initial cartoon, aired originally on ABC's The Dana Carvey Show the previous spring.
The ambiguously gay duo. The ambiguously gay duo.
Voiced by Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert,
What do we do, Ace?
We'll pull through, Frank.
we are introduced to a superhero duo
What's everybody looking at?
whose sexual orientation is a matter of dispute.
The ambiguously gay duo.
Friends star Lisa Kudrow would host next.
It's like old times, except just with a lot more anger.
The episode marks the first for another TV funhouse staple, fun with real audio.
Every state is controlled by either Democrats or Republicans, and none of them want a new party. If you get elected by acting, guess what? You keep on acting after you get elected.
You think we're in bad shape?
We are losing millions of jobs. The New York Times wrote an editorial.
And the sketch Single and Loving It would introduce us to Molly Shannon's self-proclaimed joyologist, Helen Madden.
I love it, I love it, I love it.
My fellow Americans.
The next episode, hosted by actor Bill Pullman, features a cold open that would end up being the closest we'll get to having a presidential debate parody this year, with Norm's Bob Dole debating Pullman's President Whitmore character from the 1996 film Independence Day.
Under his administration, over 70 million Americans were incinerated by aliens from outer space.
I guess he hopes to distract voters from the real issues, the ones that matter to the average American.
The average American's dead.
At the update desk, Will Ferrell would debut his impression of legendary sportscaster Harry Carey.
Hey, no. What about those hot dogs they serve at Yankee Stadium? Aren't they delicious?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I love them so much, I once ordered 12.
12 hot dogs?
Yeah, I only ate 2. I don't know what I was thinking.
And the episode would mark the last for head writer and featured player Fred Wolf, who performs hidden camera tricks on the street with Adam McKay.
Adam, show him how you speak gibberish.
Lugi chuba, iba boba, iko baba deli.
Watch what happens when Adam speaks the same kind of gibberish to someone out in the street. Someone, that is, who doesn't know they're being watched by our hidden camera.
Ushumba liba. A shumba liba? If you could please shumba liba, I would lubi, which would be... Oh! What are you doing? I'm a part of this!
The next 5 episodes would mark a first in SNL history. Referred to as the Distinguished Alumni Series, the next 5 shows would each be hosted by a former cast member. First up is the Halloween episode.
Trick or treat. We're the Spartans, cheerleaders from Saturday Night Live. Woo! Spartan spirit!
Okay, good. You know, if I see that freaking skit one more time, I'm gonna put my foot through the TV.
Hosted by Dana Carvey, his second time hosting. Carvey's monologue would feature several of his characters and impressions throughout his time as a cast member.
We love to be these people for you. We love to put on a wig and say hi to you.
A sketch originally written by Stephen Colbert and Robert Smigel for The Dana Carvey Show has Dana's Tom Brokaw pre-tape contingencies for news on Gerald Ford's death.
Gerald Ford shot dead today at age 83.
Add the word senseless.
All right. Gerald Ford shot dead today at the senseless age of 83. Tragedy today as former President Gerald Ford was eaten by wolves. He was delicious.
The church lady would return, the first time since 1990, with guest O.J. Simpson.
You must know all of the 9 commandments, I'll bet.
I think you mean the 10 Commandments.
Not for you, O.J. Slasher.
And a Dana's Johnny Carson impression shows up for a round of golf with Daryl Hammond's Phil Donahue.
Hey, Phil, how are you?
Johnny, my dear good man, boy, are you ready to go or what?
Sure, Phil, as soon as I find my keys.
Well, did you check your pockets?
Well, that's the first place I checked.
Well, you looked in your pockets. You looked everywhere.
Yes, I did.
Well, how about the door? Could you have left them in the door? A lot of people do that.
In the last sketch of the night, Tim Meadows and Tracy Morgan represent a stop-at-nothing law firm.
It's like this. Somebody owes you money, and we're gonna get it.
They can't have your money.
That's right. Unless they want a piece of Russell and Tate.
Oh, yeah. We gonna get your money.
Straight up.
Damn.
Fresh off his highly regarded comedy special, Bring the Pain, Chris Rock would host next.
You know why I like Clinton? Because he's got real problems. You know, he don't got president problems. He got real problems like you and me. Right, running out of money, his wife's a pain in the ass, all his friends are going to jail. You know, I know Bill Clinton. I am Bill Clinton.
Dana Carvey hangs back another week, appearing in the cold open.
Bob Dole wants to be president, but not gonna do it.
And in a sketch playing Charles Grodin.
You know, maybe it's just my opinion, but I mean, people can say what they want. You know, I'm not an angry person. I mean, I don't respect Johnny Cochran. I don't appreciate when Alan Dershowitz lies to me.
Despite the absence of his former sketch partner Chris Farley, Chris Rock would reprise I'm Chillin'.
I want to say what's up to a new sponsor. That's right. It's time to say what's up to I Ain't Trying to Hear That, the home pregnancy test for men.
And The Dark Side with Nat X.
Everybody talk about it's about race. It's about race. That's a bunch of crap. It's about fame. Because if OJ wasn't famous, he'd be in jail right now. That's right. If OJ drove a bus, he wouldn't even be OJ. He'd be Orenthal, the bus-driving murderer.
And providing a musical toast at their nephew's wedding, Will and Anna would introduce the awkward music teacher couple, Marty and Bobby Mohancolt.
As you know, my wife Bobby and I
head up the music department over at Altadena Middle School, which should explain my tinkling of the ivory here. Just the two of us, buildings and castles in the sky. Just the two of us, you and I.
The first episode after the presidential election would be hosted by season 11 cast member Robert Downey Jr.
And in case you're wondering why I'm hosting, well, actually, I've been invited back as part of their Distinguished Alumni series.
Bob Dole and his wife Elizabeth would pay a visit to Norm Macdonald.
Running for president doesn't always keep you in the front pages unless you, of course, take a dive off a podium.
Yeah, that did get a lot of coverage, didn't it?
Yeah, and thanks for noticing here on Saturday Night Live. I appreciate it.
I don't write a lot of this stuff.
Not either.
And another cameo has Evander Holyfield coming off his heavyweight fight against Mike Tyson.
But I just kept the faith.
You gotta keep the faith.
And I worked as hard as I could.
Work!
And I gave all my all.
Only in America.
In the end,
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Gang members display their West Side Story-like antics
The Panthers, they got Rocco. They mess him up real bad.
when the Cobras and the Panthers are set to fight.
We're gonna hit them with all we got.
That's when we strike, we're gonna hit them at night. And when the Cobras are done, there won't be a one left standing.
You know this one? It's called While You Were Singing, I Got Stabbed in the Head by a Puerto Rican.
Anna and Molly would debut their modest culinary-themed radio show.
Hello, I'm Margaret Jo McCullen. And I'm Terry Rialto. And you're listening to The Delicious Dish on National Public Radio.
And a season 22 staple, Shopping at Home Network, has Eddie Lewis and Don West hard selling the Shack Plaque.
This is $600 value. I'm gonna sell for $99.95.
Well, why you can't do
Wait
that?
a second! Wait, you're saying the Shack plaque plus the poster?
Yeah, hold on. He's flying through the air. He's not on the court.
Next up,
what's that, baby? You want some dark meat?
it's the Thanksgiving show,
I know that sounded sexual, but I was referring to the portion of the turkey.
hosted by our next alum, Phil Hartman.
I just flew in from Hollywood, and boy, is my full of crap tired.
Phil brings back his Ted Kennedy,
Well, actually, I am fluent in Abu Dhabi. Yabu Abar Aben Abim Abishisha Abayo.
and Frank Sinatra impressions.
I get the point. You bought my records, you love my movies, your favorite aunt used to lock herself in the bathroom with a picture of me and a jar of olive oil. You're a fan.
Anna Gasteyer would premiere a new character,
I'm Cinder from Berkeley.
activist and feminist singer Cinder Calhoun.
What if the stuffing was human? What if the gravy was too? What if you were the turkey? What if the turkey was you?
Season 5 host Rodney Dangerfield makes an appearance on Weekend Update.
You just turned 75, and tell me now, has your attitude toward girls changed?
Norm, when you turn 75, your attitude towards girls does not change. It's when you turn gay, then your attitude goes.
And we receive an encore performance of Hartman's pretentious acting coach, Bobby Koltzman.
Kelly, where were you?
I was in the middle
Don't
of...
answer. Kelly, where were you?
I was doing
Don't answer. Kelly, where were you? Don't answer. Good.
The episode would mark Phil Hartman's final appearance on Saturday Night Live. Our final host in this historic stretch is Martin Short, who uses his monologue to celebrate the history of SNL.
Carlin and Reiner and Tomlin and Pryor. That talent and timing could only inspire. But then the 80s came in and changed the look of the scene. It gave us Wrinkles, Rodney, Ringo, and at least 2 of the Sheens.
The episode contains the first edition of Celebrity Jeopardy!
Welcome to Celebrity Jeopardy!
Starting with this inaugural sketch, the dynamic is established with Will Ferrell playing exasperated host Alex Trebek.
Tough start for everyone.
His arch nemesis, Sean Connery, played by Daryl Hammond.
I'll take swords for 400.
It's actually not swords.
Norm Macdonald's Burt Reynolds, an impression that would continue to have Reynolds appear as he was lifted from 1972.
Hell, let's go nuts. Swords for 48,000.
Alongside Martin Short's Jerry Lewis.
Cannonball and Mamie yeah!
Anna Gasteyer would debut her Martha Stewart impression.
Martha Stewart's Home for the Holidays. Topless Christmas Special.
I'll show you how to make a festive holiday dickie out of an old turtleneck. I made this one. I really treasure it.
And our host would bring back his beloved characters, Jackie Rogers Jr. and Ed Grimley.
And once again, forgot the oven mitt.
Which would include a special appearance by Chevy Chase.
I'm Merriweather, the gatekeeper.
Rosie O'Donnell then returns for the Christmas episode.
I watched TV when I was a kid 24 hours a day. To me, TV is what football was to OJ before he killed his wife.
With special guest Penny Marshall, who, aside from her appearance in the Season 2 Mardi Gras special, last appeared on Saturday Night Live as a special guest of Rob Reiner's all the way back in 1975.
Well, I see you added a camel to your nativity scene.
It's a llama.
I didn't know they had a llama in
They
there.
carried the straw.
It's notable that almost every sketch within this episode features a recurring character, including a memorable Mary Catherine Gallagher sketch that would include musical guest Whitney Houston.
Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up.
On Update, the stars of the upcoming movie Beavis and Butthead Do America discuss the meaning of Christmas.
Every year, fat people stuff themselves with tons of food and crap. And yet other people have no place to go and nothing to eat. That's Christmas.
And as we close the curtain on 1996, viewers are treated to the goodnights from the Rockefeller Center skating rink, the first time since 1976.
The first show of 1997 opens with Monty Python's John Cleese and four-time host Michael Palin appearing in the cold open to explain how the new television rating system would affect SNL.
Many sketches will receive a TV 14, indicating the sketch may not be suitable for those under 14.
Now, if Chris Farley returns to host the show, you will see the rating TV PFMA, indicating some sketches may contain portions of Fat Man's ass.
The episode is hosted by actor Kevin Spacey and musical guest Beck. A parody of The Late Show with David Letterman would have Norm Macdonald play Letterman.
This guy walks up to me, looks me right in the eye, gives me one of these. He goes, you got any gum?
And Mark McKinney play Paul Schaefer.
Yeah, so asked you for some gum, yeah.
With the 20th anniversary of Star Wars, a commercial parody for the film's re-release would include unsuccessful screen tests.
Okay, Chris, whenever you're ready.
I'm captain of the Millennium Falcon. Chewie here tells me you're looking for passage to the Alderaan system.
Okay, whenever you're ready, Barbara.
This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Burt Reynolds, Darth Vader screen test.
Let me ask you a question. What kind of car does this guy drive?
Jack Lemmon, Chewbacca screen test.
You had me drive all the way from Beverly Hills to play a space ape?
Just put the mask on.
I'm gonna take a dump in this damn mask.
Though Will Ferrell had a brief appearance playing the U.S. Attorney General in the previous show, this episode would mark the first for
Janet Reno's dance party. You kids like to dance? Shut it now!
Tonight's edition of TV Funhouse would introduce the ex-presidents. Four former presidents, after being struck by a hurricane-powered dose of radiation, became endowed with extraordinary superpowers.
Read my lips. You're toast.
And making another appearance late in the show, John Cleese and Michael Palin would reenact the legendary Dead Parrot sketch from Monty Python's Flying Circus.
What's wrong with it?
I'll tell you what's wrong with it, my lad. He's dead. No, he's resting.
David Allen Grier then returns for the second season in a row.
You know, tonight is all about YOU.
And would participate in a memorable running gag throughout the night where he plays Maya Angelou plugging different products.
Oh, magic shining ewer of liquid ball bearings battling armies of viscosity and thermal breakdown.
And musical guest Snoop Doggy Dogg sits down for an interview with Sherry O'Terry's Barbara Walters.
Sinatra may have done it his way, but you did it doggy style. Why?
Coming off the success of Scream, actress Neve Campbell would host next.
Hello?
Hello, Nev.
Who is this?
The more important question is, Where am I?
An episode that includes a few appearances from David Spade.
What's your favorite David Spade movie?
Well, actually, I have never seen a David Spade movie.
Don't! Have you ever seen a Chris Farley movie?
Yeah, of course. Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy? Well, Spade was in that too.
Returning for the first time since departing the show after last season.
It's crazy. The woman's hysterical.
And speaking of former cast members, Chevy Chase would become the 6th former cast member to host this season.
I'm wearing underwear made of bubble wrap.
With Chase becoming the 3rd host to host the show for the 8th time. Though it's always a special occasion when one of the show's original players returns to Studio 8H, many cast members have reported over the years that their experiences working with Chevy were often difficult. This week was no different, as an alleged incident occurred during rehearsals involving Chase making lewd comments towards female staff writers. The incident reportedly led Will Ferrell to claiming Chevy the worst host this cast had worked with. And though he has cameoed many times since, Chevy Chase has not hosted Saturday Night Live since this episode. The episode would, however, bring us the debut of the overly affectionate couple played by Chris Kattan and Sherry O'Terry.
Don't you sit down.
I'm gonna sit.
Don't you sit
I'm
down.
gonna sit.
Don't you sit down.
I'm gonna sit.
Where are you gonna sit?
Where do you want me to sit?
Where do you think I want you to sit?
Tell me where you want me to sit.
Where do you think I
Tell
want
me where you want me to sit.
Where do you think I want you to
Tell me where you want.
Up next, Alec Baldwin would return for his 7th time as host, his 5th consecutive season.
Make them laugh. For me.
Baldwin's monologue would feature a tour of Studio 8H.
And hey, there's Don Pardo. He's been the announcer here since the first show. Go ahead, hit it, Don.
It's Saturday Night Live!
Today's also Don's birthday. Isn't that right, Don?
It's Saturday Night Live!
Don is very old.
Alec's episode ends up being another night packed with reoccurring sketches, including a David Letterman cold open, the Roxbury Guys, a Mary Catherine Gallagher encounter with Tina Turner,
Girl, yes. I'm a private dancer for money. Can't help me
and more tales of Bill Brasky.
A 10-foot monster who slept with all of our wives. And he punched us all in the face. And we loved him for it.
On Weekend Update, radio personality Howard Stern would make a visit.
I think the only good thing on Saturday Night Live is Norm.
Promoting his upcoming film, Private Parts.
I want everybody to go to the theaters. It's me as a disc jockey coming on and becoming the king of all media. I think you're going to love it.
And musical guest Tina Turner would perform a classic rendition of Proud Mary.
2 days before St. Patrick's Day, Sting returns to host for the 2nd time.
There once was a whore in the crowd who spoke foolish nonsense aloud. And after the show, the star came up to her row and gave her a beating that would make Jack Dempsey proud.
This week's Shopping at Home Network presents a Star Wars bonanza with a special item that brings us a special cameo.
And this is pretty much the ultimate Star Wars collectible.
By far.
Yeah, what do we got here?
I'm going to show you. This is the actual more camel.
On Update, Norm delivers some great ad-libs after a wrong camera cut.
You know, it'd probably be better if I was over on this camera. Okay, well, now that I'm over on this camera, it'd probably be better if you put the cards over here. Last year's number one. Why don't we start at the start of the joke now? Okay, no, that's all right. I'll just make it up.
And when Sting and his wife Trudy Styler audition backup singers and dancers, we meet Chris Kattan's Kyle DeMarco. Mike Myers then returns, becoming the 7th former cast member to host this season.
Now you know what total bliss is like.
It's hosting, yeah.
You look like a completely different Mike.
It's from hosting, yeah.
The season's theme of serving up a cavalcade of recurring characters would continue as Myers brings back several of his principal characters.
Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss.
And some of his lesser-known characters as well.
Pass off. Hey, piss off now.
Returning as musical guest, Aerosmith appears with Mary Catherine Gallagher.
You talk about things that nobody cares.
In a notable sketch where during the previous commercial break, the crew didn't have time to complete the breakthrough wall for Molly to crash through. And on Update, Tracy Morgan would introduce maintenance man Dominican Lou.
Hey, what are your favorite TV shows?
I like it, the reruns, the best.
Well, why would you like the reruns the best?
Because then I can already say I can already see it, and I turn it off and I go back to work.
After a 2-week hiatus, the next episode would be the first following the news of a mass suicide involving 39 members of a religious movement known as Heaven's Gate. The cold open depicts Marshall Applewhite and his followers having successfully been transported to a new existence on board a UFO.
Live via satellite from the alien spacecraft is cult leader Marshall Applewhite. Well, this whole killing yourself thing has really turned out to be a home run for you. Tell me, are there any regrets?
Yeah, the castration thing. I was way off on that one, Ted.
Later in the show, a commercial parody would include footage of the Nike-wearing Heaven's Gate members. The episode is hosted by Rob Lowe, returning to the show after last hosting in 1990.
June 4th, 1984. It's my first day of shooting on The Outsiders. I'm working with these actors named Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, and Tom Cruise. Let me tell you, this pack of no-names is going to be out of the business in 5 years.
This episode's installment of The Joe Pesci Show would bring the real Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro to confront Jim and Colin's impressions of them.
We watch you guys from our living room, supposedly impersonating Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro. You take the bat, you hit him in the knees. Then you hit him in the head. You understand what I'm talking about?
The debut of Goth Talk would have us meet 2 goth punk high school students.
We are coming to you live from the Prince of Sorrows Terrence house in Tampa, Florida.
Turn on some freaking lights in here, Todd. I told you, Glenn, my name's not Todd. I'm Azrael Abyss. Yeah, whatever, fruit.
That's Azrael's older brother. He's home from Michigan State.
And Norm makes a mistake on Update.
Last weekend in Washington, a new museum dedicated to broadcast jerk. Blah. Fuck with that. My farewell performance.
Baywatch bombshell Pamela Lee would host the final episode of April.
Okay. All right. That's where it is. Now we're talking!
An A&E's biography sketch would feature the debut of Daryl Hammond's impression of journalist Jack Perkins.
Unless you've been in a cave for the last week, you've heard of a young man named Tiger Woods. He won the Masters golf tournament on Sunday, and since then the entire nation has been abuzz about this extraordinary young man.
Played as a sarcastic alcoholic.
I have quite a buzz myself right now.
This night would be another big one for Norm as he would debut his memorable Larry King impression.
Baltimore is a dirty, ugly city. Is it just me, or is anyone else sick and tired of the Pope? I have no tolerance for people who commit rape.
A notable moment off-screen occurs in the seconds prior to the Twilight Zone sketch, where allegedly Chris Kattan relentlessly provokes Norm Macdonald over his Rod Sterling impression.
If Kattan wasn't starring in a sketch, he'd start nitpicking at other cast members. 1 minute to live on the air, Kattan starts.
God, Norm, you're like terrible. We got 1 minute. You're gonna sound terrible on national television. Don't you care? My God, you don't even care.
10 seconds.
Hey, Catan. By the way, if everyone didn't know, Catan's gay, but he doesn't tell anyone he's gay. And that's why he's this angry little bitch, and he just takes it out on everyone. And
5 seconds.
So why don't you just come out of the closet and admit you're gay and you wouldn't live a lie, you little bitch?
Submitted for your approval, the case of one Miss Janet Tyler.
The month of May would begin with our annual John Goodman episode.
Now that I'm hosting for the 8th time, I kind of feel like I'm part of the show's history.
Becoming the 4th person to host the show 8 times.
Hand in hand with such great cast members as Bill Murray, Alan Alda, Felicia Rashad, Herman Munster. Oh yeah, the Where's the Beef lady.
Mike Myers is credited as a special guest, there to promote his recently released film, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Myers would bring back his Ron Wood impression.
Here I am with Mickey Keefe, and there's a guy going on my love.
In a talk show sketch hosted by Catan's gibberish-speaking Sewell Forrester.
Today's show, we got a topic of a right.
Sherry O'Terry would introduce her disheveled and significantly impaired character.
Colette Reardon.
That's me! My OBGYN says I probably shouldn't mix prescriptions on account of the drinking, Don. I better take my pills and get to work. You gotta be in top form, Don, when you're driving a school bus full of kindergartners.
And after Will Ferrell's Weekend Update commentary, Norm would once again go off script.
Note to self, never ever follow a vomit-spewing guy with a joke. Normally I don't like Will Ferrell vomit, but this is actually very good.
Coming to host the season finale, Jurassic Park's Jeff Goldblum. The episode would deliver the first edition of Space, the Infinite Frontier, where Will Ferrell's Harry Carey would ask the important questions.
Hi, now Ken, we all know that the moon is not made of green cheese.
Yes, that's true, Harry.
But what if it were made of barbecue spare ribs? Would you eat it then?
What? I'm confused.
It's a simple question, Doctor. Would you eat the moon if it were made of ribs?
This show would mark the final one for Mark McKinney after 2.5 seasons. Though Mark was not the breakout star of this era, his contribution as a writer dating back to SNL's season 11, as well as his work on Kids in the Hall, became important factors in his being a reliable veteran presence that helped to stabilize this era's cast.
Season 22 is well remembered among fans for 2 main themes. First, a recognition of the SNL icons, with 8 of the 20 episodes featuring a former cast member as host or special guest, creating a special feeling of nostalgia for the show's history. Second, an emphasis placed on recurring characters.
Wasn't that the most wonderful, wonderful, awful thing?
With many episodes this season featuring almost all recurring sketches. Sketches like the ambiguously gay duo, The Culps, The Delicious Dish, Celebrity Jeopardy, and Goth Talk all made their debuts this season, joining the popular characters from season 21 like the Spartan Cheerleaders, Mary Catherine Gallagher, and the Roxbury Guys, cementing the true recurring character era.
I'm gonna shoot myself in the head because I cannot take this madness!
Though SNL is deemed a success once again,
You did it! You saved the show again!
network executives would remain wary with how the ratings were being affected by certain segments of the show. And in season 23, we will see how one major decision made by NBC would have a significant impact on Saturday Night Live. If you are enjoying this series, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way, you'll never miss an episode. And follow us on social media to see our coverage on all seasons of Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live Season 22 is now available on Peacock. For all of us here at the Saturday Night Network, I'm James Stevens.
And I'm John Schneider. That's it for now.